Oh
Friday
yeah,
stream
we are
with our
live,
friends, with our homies. I assume we get
of
the usual
course, like
background noise,
always.
and we figured out our technical difficulties too. So you can't beat that
Mm-hmm.
because now we'll actually be able to have a real conversation with you guys.
Yeah, real deal conversation.
Yeah, man. So I um am actually pretty stoked about something. When you guys listen to the actual podcast episode, I'm gonna have a beat on there. So like I don't know if this is what the move is gonna be, but right now this is where I'm at.
Mm.
Um oh, we're on the episode number that is the same amount of followers that we have on Facebook.
Yeah, man.
Um but anyway, what I'm gonna do, I don't know if this is the move or not, man. I'm trying to figure it out, but I'm thinking about doing a Drake cover a month.
A Drake cover a month, man.
A Drake cover a month, man.
Mm.
Keeps the doctor away, man.
Mm-hmm. So then, what are you thinking about?
Well, this next one is not at all related to our last discussion
Mm.
last week, but it's called Jaded.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that was mild sarcasm, by the way. But it's man, it just hit. I don't know, it just hit, and so I thought, you know what, like I'm not gonna put all these out like I did with the Teenage Fever one.
Mm-hmm.
That's on my band's Spotify and all that. I'm not gonna do that, but I
Mm-hmm.
may put them, or I will put them out on YouTube and Instagram, my Instagram, and all that kind of stuff. The YouTube page being No Signal TV, but uh, you can check out all that at the link down below in this live stream. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's an important thing that we want to mention because if you're watching the live stream right now, you might be like, "Oh, that's cool. They got an episode description, so I know what the hell they're talking about this time."
Yeah,
It's great, right? Yeah, I love
exactly.
that. It's based off a conversation I was having earlier today. I think it's a good thing to talk about because well, you'll see why if you stay tuned. But anyway, but on top of that, if you guys want to support the show and you're thinking, how can I support this show? I watch this clean ass live stream every week, clean except for last week when we had issues. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, how can I support the show beyond that? Man, just check out the link in the description. At the very least, you'll see all of our videos, you see all of our episodes, all in one place, and you can see the rest of our merch and all that cool stuff that we have. So, um, definitely worth checking out. So I would definitely suggest that. But yeah, man, kind of on a time crunch today.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A little
I'll
bit of
talk
one.
about why. I'll talk about why as soon as we start recording here. Oh no, what? I'm still running health checks on this thing. Okay, I
Oh,
thought we had
really?
all the technical difficulties fixed. Let me get this reset here.
There we
Well,
go.
there it is. Okay,
We're still running health checks. Oh,
there we
there we
go.
go. We got a clean bill of health, man.
I know. Clean
That's
bill of
great
health. I
stuff.
passed.
Yeah. Clean bill of health. You're good to
All
go.
right, here we go. Let's do this thing, man. All right, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so this is kind of a podcast exclusive right here.
Mm-hmm.
So off the bat, I have to tell people what happened last week, and this is I don't know if I can trust Denison ever again for the rest of my life. So we had the most technical difficulties last week with our live stream and recording and this, the service that we've used to record in real time for a couple of years now had a huge update, and I didn't know there was a way to get to the old version of it, and it slowed down our computer so much and it caused so many issues that we overlooked the issue that Denison's mic was muted on the live stream, which let's make sure that we got that working this time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
So
we're good. We're good.
okay, good. So Denison went back afterward and recorded every single spot of it over again. And there were some parts where I was confused when I was editing the episode. I was like, wait a minute, did we actually record this part or this is an overdub? Because man, like that right there, I was like, I thought that was your real laugh, but apparently you can just conjure that up anytime.
Well, yeah, man. I'm pretty good.
We talked about that episode. Relationships are built on trust. So I don't know if I can trust now, man. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so kind of a look behind the scenes there. Denison literally went back through the episode and as close as he could re-recorded almost every spot and then sent it to me, and then I had to pick it apart and put it here, put it there, put it there, all over the episode. It was wild, but anyway, so um I actually didn't get to this earlier, but the beat that you're hearing in the background right now is something I ordered from Fiverr. Dude, this is crazy. I kind of wanted to talk about it. You know what? I'll talk about it in the catch up. I'll just edit around that for right now. But anyway, all right, 3, 2, 1. But yeah, so one thing that we have going on tonight is kind of a busy night for us. For myself, I am about to go out and experience the lovely Wichita downtown for the first time in 9 months, I think. 9 months. Because health order was not entirely lifted, but certain things were. They're now allowing 75% capacity in bars, restaurants, and clubs. And they can stay open until 2 a.m., which is the normal Wichita curfew. That's nothing for Dallas. It's like the party's just getting started in Dallas. But like, so they got rid of the curfew, basically. And I can only imagine it's going to be insane. So I'm not sure I'm going to last the whole night, but I felt like it was worth a try. So we're gonna knock this out so I can get the full experience and give that to y'all in the next episode.
Yeah. Get to see what happens, man. See how crazy it is, because I feel like it's going to be insane.
It is. I'm probably gonna have way too many stories to share with this. So, with that said, we got some things that we want to talk about. The title of this episode: Has cancel culture been canceled? It's an interesting thought. It's not as rampant as it once was, for sure, whether you agree with it or not, and that will be part of this discussion as well. But is it still around, or has it kind of leveled off? It's something that we want to talk about, and of course a whole lot more. So let's go ahead and get into it.
Of course.
Golly, man, keep clearing my
You're
throat.
having a hard time, man.
Only people on the live stream get all this action. It's pretty gross. That's COVID all over that mic, man. So for what it's worth, in case you're watching the live stream, by the way, Christina, thank you. We appreciate you and your support always. I know Denison does, especially.
Of course.
I just had to make it weird for no reason. But you know, this actually is something we should talk about. I want to give it enough time to pass. Let's say in 2 weeks, let's talk about COVID.
Okay.
But I'm COVID immune. So if you're watching, you're like, this guy, does he not care about his health and well-being? Oh, I very much so do. Thank God I'm alive.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Right. So I'll leave it at that for now. But anyway, let's go ahead and do the intro, man. I'm glad we got all this work smooth. It makes me happy. Jeez. All right. 3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? I'm John.
And I'm Denison.
And this is the catch up. Bow, bow,
bow, bow, bow, bow, bow, bow. Wow.
It's a banger as old as time.
Always.
Yeah, you can't beat it.
It's always good.
Yeah, it is. So, Denison, tell me real quick, what did you want to talk about tonight?
So I did want to talk about
big build up.
Gosh,
big build up.
I know. I'm just trying to get to my notes.
The anticipation's killing me.
I really wanted to talk about gosh darn it, where is it?
Oh my. Man, you got COVID brain going? What's going on, man?
I actually kind of wanted to talk about some stocks a little bit. Stonks, man. I guess I really wanted to kind of think about like kind of do a little bit of a discussion about like how crazy the market is right now, right? Yeah. You've got GameStop jumping up and down all the time. AMC jumped up a bunch, a few points or whatever like that. And I feel like the market has become so volatile that it's kind
Yeah,
of it's weird, right? I feel
I
like
feel that.
even the experts don't know what's going on, and then so new people can jump in and stuff. But I
Yeah.
guess I kind of wanted to talk about that and a little bit of Tesla. So
Okay. Well, let's
I know
go
it's a little
ahead
bit
and
everywhere, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, so,
no, that's all good, man. Let's go ahead and jump into it. I say, I say you lead this one off. You know what I mean?
okay,
Haven't done
yeah,
that for a
sure.
while.
Okay,
I'm used to
okay.
people
Do you
starting
want to
off.
start off with my topic and then go into yours,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
how you want to do it?
that's exactly
Okay.
what I'm thinking. But don't forget, we gotta give people the plugs first. You know,
Oh yeah,
otherwise
you're
we're
right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
we ain't
Okay.
moving product. We just wasting our times, man. I'm just kidding. I'm playing. We do this
Like
for
always.
you.
For you.
Yeah, yeah, we do this for you. If you guys don't know Hodge Twins, you're not gonna get like half the jokes that we get that we give on here. This is
um
a stonk, bro. Now I'm gonna post
yeah.
that one up as soon as we start talking about this. Okay, let's do this thing.
Stonks.
You know what? I'll
Um
do the plugs. I'll do the plugs real quick, and then we'll get into
you
the
wanna do the
topic.
plugs? Okay, go ahead and do
Yeah.
the plugs. You got
All
this.
right. 3, 2, 1. All right. So as usual, we want to give you guys some reminders. Right now, we're live streaming on Facebook. We have people jumping on the live stream once again already. The goal here to kind of further the conversation with our audience in real time, and have a real, instant catch up with you guys and get your take on what we're talking about again in real time. It's a very cool thing that we've loved how it's been going so far. It's totally transformed this podcast, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's been great. So you'll definitely want to check that out. All of this I'm about to mention will be in the description of this episode, but you can just search the Catch Up Podcast on Facebook or Instagram. You'll see our Instagram there, and you'll be among the first to know anytime we have a new episode live. Um, our YouTube channel, we're going to be putting exclusive content out on there, and eventually be putting these live streams on there as well. But we have, as we talked about weeks ago, we talked about the Turo rental car challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And man, that's gonna be a fun one when that's complete. I'm very excited for that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No,
Um,
no, that's gonna be amazing to be honest.
yeah,
I'm about halfway through.
heck yeah, heck yeah, man. Um, so you can expect that in probably, I would say by the end of March, most likely with the way we want it to be crafted by the time. So you want to subscribe for that
Yeah.
so you'll know when it goes live. Our website as well, we mentioned on the live stream already. You get everything Catch Up Podcast related. We're talking the episodes, the videos, and merch or apparel if you want to support the show. That's the best way to
Mm-hmm.
do that. And that's nosignalrocks.com. Again, it's linked down in the description of this episode. Last thing, leave us an email if you want to get on here and do an interview with us. It doesn't have to be a live stream, it can be pre-recorded too. We did
Mm-hmm.
that with a friend of ours about a month and a half ago, probably 2 months ago.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Something like that.
yeah, and he reached out to us, and so don't hesitate to reach out to us
Mm-hmm.
if you have something that you think would be interesting to share and talk about and spark a good discussion. We're all for it.
Yep.
It's the ketchupcast@gmail.com. I've been hitting with that for a while. And then the last thing, leave us a rating and a review. It helps our podcast grow. Every time you do that, it makes it more visible to potential listeners, and it lets us know how we're doing. So, with that said, put this up on the live stream. Vincent is a stonk bro now. It's a millennial meme term,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. Gotta get in
So,
those stonks.
explain yourself and your stonks, dude.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, I'll say I'll start off with this, right? So, what was it? Maybe uh 3 weeks ago or whatever like that, we kind of talked about, GameStop's kind of rise and shifting in some ways of of the of like the stocks, right? And it kind of
Yeah.
opened up, or it seemed to open up a little bit to where anybody can jump in and make a little bit of money or whatever like that. Um, as long as you do a little bit of research. And so, and for me, I've kind of actually it kind of piqued my interest more because, to be honest, it really was that gatekeeping thing where I kind of felt like yeah, I know I can invest in stuff, but I don't know how well I can do. So, I always had, a few things invested, but it's just more of long-term stuff. So I wanted to see what I could do in more of a shorter term
Hmm.
fashion, which technically, for all
So you're
intents and
talking about playing
purposes,
the market, basically, right? Yeah.
playing the market a little bit immense. So, uh, as good advice, technically you're not supposed to do that.
Right.
You shouldn't. It's not good financial advice to do that.
Well,
Or
it's not a guaranteed gain like long-term investments are. That's
exactly,
really where that
exactly.
comes from. Yeah.
Yeah, you long term. Well, I'll say long term investments are good as long as you do your research and you find a stock that works. Or I should really say more of like funds and investment, not investment funds, but index funds and some other funds that will actually do really well. Um, you can invest in those, and those can actually be great for you. But if you're trying to do, like, say, something like day trading or whatever like that, that can be a little bit more of a volatile, more problematic thing to do.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and so what I tried to do, or what I've been trying to do in the past few weeks or whatever like that, is essentially just trying my hand at not day trading, but just a little bit more of a long-term investment stuff, and
Mhm.
seeing what I can do and what I can find and what I can profit off of or whatever like
Yeah.
that.
So
And it's
more
been pretty
so,
interesting.
you're talking about like market predictions, right?
Hmm.
Um, have you, out of curiosity, have you seen these ads? I've seen them on Instagram and YouTube talking about the next big thing for Apple. It's not their new iPhone. Have you seen these ads?
I haven't actually.
Yeah. So they're talking about, it's honestly really good advice, just in general, no matter what you're investing in. But
Mm.
and I think we've actually talked about this on the podcast, but it's their processing chip that they've contracted out. I may be blanking. Um,
Mm. Processing
but
chip that they've contracted out.
I can't remember exactly the piece of hardware. But the point is, obviously, the company that makes this stuff would be great to invest in
Mhm.
because they're guaranteed to be putting things in every single iPhone.
Mhm.
Um, and so it's a guaranteed profit margin for them from where they're at right now, right? So
Mhm.
I'm blanking on the actual title of it, but I think that's where
Is
you're
it
going with this, right?
Qualcomm? No,
It
it's
could
not
be.
Qualcomm.
It could be.
But yeah, no, it's just, yeah, looking into stuff like that, researching companies that might do really well and, a long-term form factor and stuff. And so it's kind of interesting in the, what, maybe 3-4 weeks that I've been in it. What I found, right? It's cool to see it, like all the stocks kind of moving around or whatever. So just as like a quick one, uh, I was watching Tesla stock. Now I didn't buy Tesla stock because I don't have that kind of money, but
Right. Can't ball in that
um,
market. Yeah.
yeah, but it's amazing to see how far it went up, and then now it's starting to go down. Um, I think what its peak, it got to 900 something or whatever like that, and now it's at 8, maybe 7. If I check right now, because there's also uh stuff that goes on after. Um,
Yeah.
but I guess all of this to say, I feel like we're in an interesting time where I feel stocks have become far more um, inviting to people, if that makes any sense. If a little bit more, like, more people can, yeah, it's more accessible.
Mhm.
More people can jump into it, and even though it's just as volatile, like I go into it like as if I was going to gamble, because it really is pretty much gambling.
If you do it that
Um,
way, yeah, it is.
you go into it with money that you're going to lose, right? And then anything other than that is nothing more than, just a gift essentially, right? But it's just kind of cool to watch everything and kind of see how this whole process works. Essentially, this whole thing that I felt was so foreign to everybody, right? Or at least foreign to me, um, can be whittled down to uh, a few like market changes or whatever like that, or a
Yeah.
few speculation changes, because it's all really speculation for the most
Well,
part.
what do you think makes it um so interesting? Because to me, there's obviously playing the game is kind of like gambling, but I think there's some sadistic attraction to it for me where you're gambling with people's livelihoods,
Mm,
more or less. Anytime that you know you're shorting stocks, like we saw with GameStop, and we talked about this, right? We talked about this on that
mm-hmm,
episode. We talked about GameStop, how the impact of this could get more people involved in trading and specifically short-term investments
mm-hmm,
rather than long-term. And it's weird. I'm having a whole deja vu of this exact moment right now. It's very odd, but yeah, you talked about that as well, and now you're among those who are giving it a shot right now, not to that extreme necessarily,
mm-hmm,
but what makes it so intriguing to you? Because I think, like if I titled this episode something stocks, right? Chances
mm-hmm.
are it's not getting a lot of plays, but it's because the headline is boring, but the actual meat of it is pretty interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, and I think most people know that. So what is it about it to you that intrigues you about it?
I think what intrigues me is, everything, at least so far, everything that I've invested in, just, small stuff or whatever like that.
Yeah.
Um, I do a lot of research on. I read as many articles I can. I try to figure out, um, where the company is going, how they're doing so far, earnings and stuff like that. And sometimes I guess the intriguing part is that sometimes that information is, what will tell you whether the stock is going to go up or down or whatever like that. But sometimes it doesn't even matter. Sometimes the stock can just go up just for random reasons, right?
Yeah.
And I guess I find that so interesting is I'm just essentially, for me, it's me just trying to figure out, like, how does that all work?
Oh,
I've talked about this before in the podcast, that I just, in general, I like to learn. I like to learn random stuff. So this
right.
is no different. And so it's just one of those things where, and by the way, when I was talking about Tesla stock, I think it peaked somewhere maybe like 900 and something, or maybe even 800 or whatever. And now it's at $675.
Jeez. And we all feel dumb for not getting involved in that.
Well,
That
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
exactly.
Apple, Amazon. I mean,
Hmm.
the Amazon thing is one of those people saw coming from miles away, but yet so many people are like, man, I wish I invested in that. You
Yeah,
know,
but
it's just
yeah,
not something you necessarily overtly think about, though.
well, yeah, exactly. And I feel like a lot of that, though, at the very end is just FOMO, right?
Oh yeah,
The fear of missing out. So people
absolutely,
will invest in it, uh, and not knowing exactly like the problems of it or whatever like that.
sure.
Um, so for me, throughout my whole experience of what, 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks or whatever like that, that I've been doing it, is, um, I've made a little bit, but not really enough to say that it was a good incentivize. So in some ways, I kind of went undercover, right, into seeing how the whole thing worked, to get a better understanding of it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's just become, at least this is still very much beginner knowledge, and I'll probably update in say 6 months or so like that, right?
Yeah.
But it seems to be, um, as long as you do the research or whatever like that, you can usually, and I'm not gonna say that this is correct for everything, but as long as
Sure.
you do your research and you um, can and use resources that are around, like Christina showed me, there is a website called Open, I think it's, was it Open Source Tradings or something like that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It essentially shows what, a lot of the more wealthier individuals are trading.
So she turned you into a stonk bro, is what I'm hearing. Right.
No, I think if anything, she's just supporting me in, a new endeavor that I want to try and learn.
Sure. Sure. So you can see,
Um,
and I've heard about this. I
mhm.
think that's one of those ads I've seen. Yeah. So you can actually watch
Oh,
and take
it's
a look at.
Open Insider. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So,
Um, so I think yes, I remember this now. I actually saw this on a TikTok. Oh god.
mm.
Oh god, just kidding about TikTok. Um, I don't use it. I just watch it for the funny stuff, dude.
Okay,
but
okay.
but I it what is one thing that you feel this one's been super trendy on TikTok for a while. What's one thing you feel is like illegal that and it's that it is public knowledge for those high income earners as to what they invest in. So yeah, it's almost like insider trading.
Mhm.
So yeah, you've been using that is what you're telling me.
I've been learning from that, I should say.
Okay.
It's not because the biggest problem with that is that it's about a day behind, right? And since stocks change literally every day, you'll always be a day behind these people. So
Wow.
it's more along the lines of figuring out the trends of why they're doing that and
Mm.
investing that way.
Yeah. Okay.
But at the same time, it's also the tried and true thing. Only invest in what you actually believe in. Don't
Yeah.
just try to jump on the hype train and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, the hype train ends up dying. So it's not really, worth doing that unless you're, again, willing to lose money, and at the same time are okay, or are cool with being invested in it or whatever.
Yeah. Remember that platform a couple years ago that was advertising invest in marijuana, invest in Mars, right?
Hmm.
Like someone smoked some marijuana before they started putting this ad together. Like, I'm not going to invest in a planet, dude. That doesn't even make sense. Unincorporated. Mars Inc. I invest in the candy bars. That sounds great to me. They
Hmm.
can only go up, Mars, candy bars, M&Ms,
Yeah, man.
right?
Good stuff.
So, yeah, of course. But no, there's a lot to be learned from there. One thing that I've learned from our good friend of the show, Blake Loggins,
Hmm.
uh, he has done this thing called drop shipping. Long story short, on drop shipping, you basically create a website for and sell other people's products. You set the price for it and do the marketing for it. You can make good money. I mean,
Yeah.
he's been making good money. I need to get in on drop shipping, is what I'm saying. But and then somewhere else fulfills it for you. But anyway, you have to do market research to know what's working, what the next trend might be. It's a similar thing. This is a very dumbed down version because that's really what marketing is. Well, it's the same thing for stocks. You have to do market research. So you have to have a certain amount of knowledge and sometimes even background to really know what you're talking about, right?
Hmm.
And be successful at it. So you said you made a little bit, but percentage wise, what's the percentage gain been like? 20.
Let's see. So my portfolio has changed quite a bit, and today was not a great day.
Okay.
Um,
Sounds like me when I was doing Bitcoin and stuff.
You should have kept those. Well, if you wouldn't have lost your Ethereum, man, you'd be doing great right now.
No, I even bought an Ethereum shirt, man.
Yeah,
That's how
man.
that's how that's how into it I was.
Hey, it's a pretty stable coin now at this point. But
Yeah.
so portfolio wise, I'm technically up by probably 5%.
That's
Is it?
good. That's
So,
good. Dude, 5% in how many days?
mm, uh, about a month, maybe less
Oh,
than a month. I'm trying to
okay.
remember when I first bought this stuff.
Well, it's not bad. It's not a loss, and you're still learning. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I
no.
think
So actually, less than that. So I actually started at the very beginning of February.
nice. It's not
So
bad, dude.
yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. And like I said, today was not a great day. I was actually higher, a little,
Yeah.
in the middle of the week, um, but yeah, no, it's yeah, like I said, it's a lot of learning. It's a
Yeah.
lot of learning, a lot of research, and um, I say if you have some time, it's kind of cool to look at. But again, I go into the whole thing as, um, this is money that I'm willing to,
Lose.
you know, yeah, lose exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't
Mhm.
do it a whole bunch, to be completely honest. I actually haven't bought any more stocks since I started.
I get
I've
that.
just bought them and just held them. And that's the big thing, right? A lot of it is it's it's looking at stuff that I feel will go up long term wise. I'm looking very,
Sure.
very much long term wise, like some index funds, or REIT, um, which is a cool stock that I actually kind of figured out about, or cool like fund or whatever.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's essentially, you're investing in and I may be saying this improperly or whatever like that, but it's essentially you're investing um, in a fund that they use that money to go out and buy properties and essentially get into how everybody wants to get into the real estate game. In some ways, it's a way for you to be able to get into the real estate game without actually having to buy a whole house or like a
Right.
whole property or whatever like that.
Yeah.
You're essentially buying a share of a company or a fund that's essentially going out and doing all of that for you.
That's awesome. That's really
So
cool.
yeah, so those are cool. Those were fun to kind of look at and stuff like that. And like I said, index funds are great.
Yeah.
Like a S&P 500 index fund or whatever like that.
Index
So
funds is what we were trying to remember a few weeks back. Yeah, those are where it's
yes, yes,
diversified through a whole bunch. You can pick them or somebody can pick them for you. Um, and it's basically investing in the market, not really companies, and
exactly,
you never lose
exactly.
money, in the long
Mm-hmm.
run. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Those are designed to last a long time. Essentially, you buy those, and you hold them for a long time, and
yeah,
you will eventually grow, um, quite a bit. And a lot of
yeah,
those funds, if you find a good one, you can find ones that will beat the market by 5%, 6% or
mhm.
whatever like that, which is really good. So
Yeah, it is. Well, man, I love that we're kind of diving into investment advice, financial advice lately.
yeah, man.
Um, one of us is way more qualified. Uh, one of us is very qualified to talk about that, and the other has 7 guitars. So, but no, I think this is good. It'll be cool to kind of catch up on your experience with that over time and see
Yeah,
what
man.
all you experienced with that. So no, that's really cool. Um, I need to go ahead. I think we should jump into the next topic,
Yeah, no, no, go ahead, man. It's time.
man. So this is something that has been on my mind. And I'll tell you why.
Mm.
We're talking about cancel culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because Potato Head, right? That's Mr. Potato Head to you, Not anymore. Not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Mr. Potato Head keep in mind there is a Mrs. Potato Head,
Yeah, there is.
Potato Head's lawfully wedded wife. Okay, now, I don't know what her maiden name was because she's kind of always been a Potato Head.
Yeah.
Um, maybe it was like Spud Cranium or something like that. I don't know, but
Spuds a
but
lot.
Spud's, yeah, Sir Spud's a lot. Um, but it's really interesting that out of nowhere, like I picture like those memes, right? Like nobody, no one at all. Toy Story. Let's call it Potato Head, but take Mister off of it, right? So, that was a thing that happened this week where they took um the gender pronouns off of Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head and made it a non-discernible gender. Is that the right term? I'm trying to think
Why?
of
A
humor.
non-binary gender. I
Yeah,
think that's
right.
the right
Yeah, which
term.
binary I feel like 001110 um coding stuff. But they made it non yeah, binary. And I just don't really
But
see what
why?
social justice warriors were picking on Mr. Potato Head, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't think because most people, I think, when they wake up to that news, yeah, they're probably like you are. Why? Or they were like I was. I was like, okay, you know. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, man. I don't know. I
Mm.
guess it's been brewing for a while. Um, I guess Buzz Lightyear is gonna be Brittany Lightyear now. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea. Um, I don't know. It's an interesting thing, and I feel like, well, what are your thoughts on it before I jump into the next part of this?
I mean, I guess my
Necessary.
thoughts are just like it's a little strange. I mean, I don't. Granted, though, I'm coming from a point of um, there are certain things that I feel like don't really matter in the space of being, um, I guess, gender binary or whatever like that. I don't know.
Mhm.
I guess the thing for me is it's like it's a children's toy.
It's a children's toy.
Um,
I
why?
never identified myself as a man just because Mr. Potato Head told me to, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I took a
like
shower one day and I realized, hey, I'm a guy. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I didn't
exactly.
make, I didn't make that decision because Mr. Potato Head told me to.
Yeah. Or Mrs. Potato Head told me to,
Well, right.
you know.
I knew I didn't relate to
Uh
her.
but I mean, I guess that's the thing. It's like it's a child's toy, right? I don't know if that's really like you said. I don't think that's really Mr. Potato Head's not teaching you how to shave. Um,
He can't even
um,
shave himself. Got a big ass mustache, man.
exactly, exactly.
Got
But no, it's
80s
like
porn stash on that thing.
like why does that matter? So
Right.
that's my biggest thing. It's like why does that matter? It's not that I'm against it per se. It's just I feel like there are bigger fish to fry, if that makes any
Right.
sense. So it's like, why are we going after a children's toy when, to be all honest, like, are you playing with children's toys all the time? And you're like, ah, this gosh darn potato head should be called Miss, should be called just potato head instead of Mr. or Mrs. Like,
Yeah, they're just like, honey, hey, come over here. You see this crap? This potato has a mustache on it. What the hell? Right?
mm-hmm,
I just I can't, man. So I agree with you. It really has no bearing on my life. I agree with what Christina said here on the live stream. It says it's a little performative. Um, if I'm understanding that correctly, it's just kind of putting on airs, right?
mm-hmm,
Drawing social justice attention to something where there was never really an issue to begin with. Um,
exactly.
so I agree with that, but it sparked this conversation among the people I was around today, and uh, about cancel culture. And first of all, to quickly explain it, cancel culture is where, in the case of Kevin Hart, right? He wasn't
Mhm.
allowed to host, what was it, the Oscars, I believe,
I think it was the Oscars, yeah.
because they found a tweet of something he said 10 years ago that was a gay slur, I believe.
Mhm.
Uh, but you know what? I mean, it's just so hypocrite. Well, I shouldn't get into my opinion on it yet, but basically canceling him from hosting the Oscars. That's quote unquote cancel culture because it was such an uproar on social media. Um, all too often, companies, I'm putting my opinion in this anyway. All too often, companies, well, what social media says is the voice of the people, when really it's typically this small but very vocal group,
Mm.
that all happen to have a social media handle. Um, And so that was the case in that of Kevin Hart. So one of the worst to me is absolutely that one. Um, but another one I think of is, and this is not me necessarily being a fan of hers, but Paula Dean
Mhm.
got canceled for something she said in the early 80s, and she had been on TV for decades since then. It wasn't
Mm.
good. I'm not defending it. I'm just saying it's a little late for this kind of stuff. Um,
Yeah. But I
and
think or go ahead.
Well, and then one of the on the opposite end of the spectrum, I don't think I ever talked about this on here, but there is a NASCAR driver named Kyle Larson. When the
Mm.
pandemic really set in last year and they weren't sure what they were going to do, everyone was doing the virtual iRacing thing,
Mhm.
and he was doing this was an online only event. It wasn't streamed on TV, but he was trying to talk to his spotter. And he didn't realize he had queued his mic for all channels, and there were people streaming on Twitch watching this
Mhm.
thing, and he said the N word, trying to get the attention of his spotter, right?
Mm.
Um, and it's a harsh lesson in the fact that you should never use that word, no matter the context. He
Mhm.
was just trying to, you know, it sounds really, um,
Yeah, yeah, no,
it,
it sounds or go ahead.
well, it just sounds really insensitive to say this way, but it is what he was doing. He was trying to be playful with his friend that he had known since they were like five, in an obviously very immature way, um, and then broadcasted to all drivers. And so his team didn't actually fire him,
Mhm.
um, but the sponsors of his car wouldn't endorse somebody who had done that, and
Mhm.
so they couldn't fund his ride, so they had to let him go. And he's gone through the whole sensitivity training and done all the right steps in my mind to where he's actually back and on a better team than he was before. It actually worked out for him.
Mm.
Um, and so I appreciate them giving a guy a second chance like that, especially when I personally, I mean, this is easier for me to say because I very much love the sport of auto racing, but it wasn't indicative to me of what his character is. That incident.
Mhm.
Um, I can just say that because I've watched it so closely my whole life. So anyway, I cut you off a couple times. What were you gonna say?
No, no, no. I guess, um I think there are some things that cancel culture does get a little bit too crazy on, right? Like you said, the Kevin Hart thing I thought was a little bit much, especially because he had been vocal through, when that was all going on, saying like, "Hey, I've changed. I'm not the same person."
Yeah,
And you can even go through like my tweets from uh, a few years and within the past few years, and you can see how much I've changed or whatever like that.
yeah,
um but there are certain things that I do feel like that do need to be addressed in some ways, and so that's why I wouldn't say that it's all bad, right?
sure.
um so especially when I think that's the big thing, right? I feel like cancel culture is great when it shines a light on people that need to have a light shined on them, right? Because for instance, I think for Paula Dean, right? Um I think when, even though that was far back in the 80s or whatever like that, I think the problem with that was there wasn't really that much of a sign that she had changed too much.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Sure.
so,
Yeah.
saying no, of course I could be wrong or whatever, but I think it was, around the sign of that she hasn't really changed. So there was no like she hadn't shown that she was remorseful for saying it until it actually she got um scrutiny for it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so I do feel like you do need to shine lights on people for that kind of stuff because um
If they're in
you
a
want
position
it.
of influence or power, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's the thing. Like you said, it's you're in a position of influence and power, and you can influence quite a lot of people. And if you uh, essentially say like, "Oh, well, people don't need to," you're setting a bad example for everyone, right?
Oh yeah.
So,
Well, and I think when I say of influence and power, I think of people like Harvey Weinstein, people like him,
hmm
right? Not so much Paula Dean, right? But man, she make everything with butter though, so it tastes really good. It influenced me a lot, I can tell you that. But outside of that, yeah, I mean, I think of those type of people. I think of politicians. I think of guys like Ted Cruz, who was in Florida um, the other day and literally said at the CPAC conference, I would rather be in Florida than Cozumel right now. Making light of a decision that got this man roasted, right?
hmm
I mean, it just is mind blowing to me. It's still either way, he'd like to be in either of those two places more than Texas, apparently.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly. The state that he represents.
so anyway, I think the answer is somewhere in the middle, which to me is what you were talking about, Dennis, and keeping people in check. Um, Specifically the people that have influence, right?
hmm
Um, so I agree with that. I do, and I think what I've seen personally, I'd love to know what your thought is. I think I've seen this kind of milding out of it to where it's more of a because at the height of cancel culture, I really think cancel culture has been a thing for the past 10 years, very more so.
Ever since
Um,
Twitter, I really say.
yeah, yeah, no, really. I mean, I would say that at the height of it, there was no counter argument. It was like anytime anything came out, I'm trying to think. Well, Kevin Spacey's not a good example because he did end up being found guilty, but I
hmm
also remember the attacks on it before any of that was known. And it was like, oh, he's guilty for sure. And then you also had um other people that were accused in that same time frame that ended up not being guilty.
hmm
Uh, but their reputation was tarnished because of how it was like, oh, so like three people would say some famous person um, had sexual, unlawful sexual interaction with them,
hmm
and all of Twitter would jump on it and just bash this person. They, by public opinion, they were guilty. And I think what I'm saying is I think we're past that. I think this is a positive news on the Catch Up podcast. um, and one evidence of that to me is this race car driver I was telling you about, Kyle Larson. I know some people listening or watching may say, well, it's NASCAR, they're all redneck racist people anyway. Of course they're gonna forgive somebody who said the N-word. Like, no, because they're large corporations that sponsor cars in NASCAR. If you can't bring people really don't understand the business side of it. So I could be a really good driver, and not have a ride. I could literally be one of the best drivers in the world and not have a ride if I didn't have business relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that this man was able to formulate business relationships while going through this sensitivity training, I think speaks a lot to him and his character. But I think it also speaks to that shift in our culture where we're not banishing people to the shadow realm for for mistakes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And again, by no means am I defending this behavior, or no matter who we're talking about here. No means am I defending that. I'm just saying I think we can't. Um, well, you know, anybody who's listened to this long enough knows I hate sweeping generalizations, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we can just generalize like any person who makes a mistake is a terrible person, right? And they don't deserve anything, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
that they worked for. So I don't know. Um, how you feel about those thoughts, man? I can see you're pondering them.
I completely understand. I feel like there is just because someone makes a mistake doesn't always mean that that's a good view of their character, right?
Mm,
Um, and I think, and I'll say, I hope, really, that's probably the more the uh, the better word to use in this situation. But I would hope that we're finally getting to a point to where um, we are trying to um,
have a rational discussion about these things.
yeah, have a rational discussion, but also do that thank you, that full-bodied approach when it comes to um who we need to shed light on or whatever like that, right?
Yeah.
Now I can't uh I'm trying to think of the words because they're all just kind of flying around, but I'll say this. So I feel like we're finally, or I hope that we're getting to a point to where we can start having discussions again, right? Because I feel like that's the biggest problem with cancel culture in a lot of ways is that it tends to just turn everything into an argument, and more of an argument that where you're wrong, you're dumb, shut up, and I'm right, instead of
Right.
actually hearing both sides, right? And so I feel like that's kind of what we need to do. We need to get to the point to where we're doing a full approach of like, hey, like what you just did is probably not okay, but tell me the reason why you did what you did.
Yeah.
Um, And, for people who are doing repeat offenders, right, who we've given the benefit of the doubt, um, multiple times or whatever like that, I feel like those are the people who need to be canceled because apparently they're not getting it right.
Yeah.
So that's my thought process on it, right?
I
It's
agree.
goes back to the old George Bush meme.
Which one?
Fool me once, shave on you.
Yeah.
Fool
Fool
me
me once.
twice. What was it? What does he say? He's like, fool me twice. He's like, can't get fooled again.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but no,
No, but
it's
you're right though.
it's very much on the line of like not give you a pass per se, but more along the lines of let me see what are you doing to make
Yeah.
up for what you've done or whatever like that, instead of just saying like you're done, it's over, don't speak to me again, or just you know leave
Exactly.
or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's a certain amount of truth to that George Bush meme in this situation too. So yeah, I can appreciate that. But yeah, man, I think that's a great way to leave this discussion. I think we talked about a lot of good things on this one.
hmm
Um, another one, right? Another one. Um, Oh, I wanted to talk about it too. The beat at the beginning. Oh man, I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited. So I'm thinking I might do a Drake cover a month just because it's speaking to me right now. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I know people. I have musician friends that have gotten good notoriety off covering Backstreet Boys or whatever, right?
You should
Um,
do the best Backstreet Boys, man. That's childhood right there.
oh, that's my childhood for sure. But it's already been done by my friend Joseph Neville. Man, he actually put out an entire live performance of Backstreet Boys Millennium album.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, just acoustic too. It was impressive. So I can't do that, but I can do my guy. I can do my guy Drake, and I had this beat made. That was the beat that you heard at the beginning of this episode. Um, and it's an interesting take off a different song by him. So I'm ready to do that, man. I'm gonna try to add a little bit of guitar to it, but it's gonna be crazy. So you'll see it up on my band's YouTube channel and some other stuff too. But I just wanted to plug that real quick. Other things to plug: the website. You can get all the. It's the home for the pet catch up podcast. Check it out. We got merch on there and everything. Leave us a rating and
Mm-hmm.
review. Um, and let us know how we're doing, what you like about the episode, and help us grow in that way. And yeah, check out the Facebook page. This is where we've been doing the live streams. We're going to migrate to our YouTube channel. All of that's linked in the description of this episode. But in all cases, you can just search the Catch Up Podcast and you will find it. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man, that's it for me. You got anything else you want to say?
No, no, no. I think we're good, man. I think we're good.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for catching up with us, and we'll catch up with you next week. All right. So, for the live streamers, right?
Mm-hmm. For you
All right. So here's what I
guys,
did.
right
This is
there.
what? What'd you say? What'd
You
you say?
missed it. It's all good.
Oh, oh,
Um,
with your phallic mic. Um.
no, it's just
All
a
right.
good
So this is
finger.
what I'm.
Mm-hmm.
Gave me that 30-second clip in an hour,
Good gosh,
and I was like, "Dang, that sounds awesome. Yeah, let's do it." 6 hours later, it gives me the full song.
man.
This is what it sounds like. Right? Be like,
Mm-hmm.
leaving me, dipping out on me already. Got what you needed, I guess. Right? So it has to make, I have to sing the melody different,
Mm-hmm.
but it slaps though. It goes hard. Yeah. So anyway, that is what you'll hear if you listen to the actual recording of the podcast.
Nice.
But yeah, man. So anyway, I'm excited about that. There's a lot of good stuff going on. I hate that I'm in a hurry tonight because there's just a lot of good vibes going. So
Well, it's all good, man.
um
It's all good.
yeah, man. So lots of vibes. But we'll be
We're
back
gonna
next
have a
week.
lot to talk about next week.
We will. And I think our goal next week is to get Aaron
Mm-hmm.
Wander on the podcast. I think initially we discussed doing it this week, but just after the technical difficulties of last week, I did not want to risk that. So
Yeah.
um so yeah, we'll get to that next week, and then we'll go back to another episode. But we want to expand out what we're doing. And I think as weather gets warmer and things open up, we're going to try some wild and crazy things, and maybe even get some former guests back on the show in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be cool, man. We got a lot of good stuff we're doing. So
Yeah, no, man. I think it's gonna be awesome.
yeah. So yeah, we're gonna bounce out of here now. But thank you guys for catching up with us on this late Friday night. We
Mm-hmm.
appreciate it. And we'll catch up with you guys next week.
Next week.